With the recent reintroduction of Vegito in the Dragon Ball Super franchise having to go head-to-head with the Supreme Immortal God Zamasu, along with the recent introduction of the Ultimate Warrior Jiren in Dragon Ball Super's Tournament of Power, the question stands as to what would be the outcome if by some chance Super Saiyan Blue Vegito encountered Jiren in a one-on-one battle. On today's video, we will be diving in depth and finding out which one of these supreme fighters would emerge victorious by the end, in which I highly encourage you all to watch through the entire video to further understand every point being made for both characters, alongside sharing your thoughts and opinions as to which one of these Mega Warriors would emerge as the winner. And again, don't forget to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button alongside enabling all notifications. That way you guys can be notified whenever a Dragon Ball video is posted onto this channel, in conjunction to news, information, and updates. Hashtag notification squad to be up to date with all the latest in Dragon Ball, as we are going to kick things off with the introduction of Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. His debut was Dragon Ball Super episode 66 against his opponent Merge Zamasu. His duration within the episode was that of 1, having to last that of only 5 minutes. And with that, we have the introduction of none other than Jiren, with his debut having to be within the Tournament of Power arc, with his opponent having to be 70 other fighters, which is practically everybody involved in the tournament, with his duration having to last from Dragon Ball Super episode 97 up until this very current point of this recording. Now, Emish, welcome back onto the channel, as I want to go on ahead and get your opinion between a full-powered Super Saiyan Blue Vegito with no restrictions having to factor the 1-hour Potara time factor, having to go up against Universe 11's Jiren. Considering we only know so much about Jiren as it is based on this recording, in your opinion, who do you believe possesses greater potential in besting the other in pure combat, and ultimately having to be the superior fighter, as we do understand that both characters do bring something to the table, as Vegito and Jiren, I believe, would be a very interesting fight to see, unlike any other fight I think we've seen in Dragon Ball, as I do think that one character would definitely push the other to possibly his breaking points. But even with that being said, which character do you believe, in your opinion, would best up the other in terms of hand-to-hand combat?
Well, potential hands down goes to Jiren. Even though we don't know too much about him, I think we definitively know enough. I think the fan base has been completely convinced that Jiren is completely broken. And the reason I say this is because they're jerking Jiren off so hard with 2 hands, leaving the tip of the head. They're leaving the tip of the head left over, and they're stroking him hard with 2 hands. And they're doing it vigorously. And we as a fan base, we really can't even argue against it. Based on what they showcased with Jiren, there's nothing you can say to actually put somebody against Jiren at this point in time and say that this person has a shot. The most that you can do is say that this person has a better shot than this character. That's the most that you can do. For example, you could say Vegito has a better shot than current Goku or current Hit, potentially. Like, if you want to say that, that's okay. But hands down potential, listen, the fact that they already definitively confirmed that Jiren is a Kaishin level, they take it a step further by saying he is the mortal that a Kaishin cannot defeat.
And even going as far as saying that potentially he might even far surpass and supersede the gods in and of itself, yeah.
Oh, and by the way, he himself is not a god yet. He's still a mortal being. That's broken. And then they take it a step further by saying he possesses a power that transcends time. This is ridiculous.
Breaking right through Hit's time cage. Exactly, yeah.
This dude is like, you can't even animate him. Like, that's how broken they've created him. And honestly, like I said, I'm not even joking. I know you guys hear me laughing. The tone of my voice sounds like I'm joking. I'm really not. I'm so sorry. I'm really not. I'm one to respect a character who, like, a caliber of Vegito. I can respect him. But honestly, listen, the fact that Jiren, whether or not you want to assume he has Ultra Instinct, right? Let's just theoretically say he doesn't.
Yeah.
To say that he possesses a fighting prowess. And, oh, by the way, this is a suppressed Jiren going up against Ultra Instinct Goku.
And keeping up with him, yeah.
Yeah, and before people say, well, Goku wasn't at full power, yeah, this is the first time he had Ultra Instinct. Listen, Ultra Instinct is Ultra Instinct. There's no such thing. Like, we can't sit here and make an excuse to say that Goku wasn't at full power. Listen, he was exponentially stronger than he ever was as a Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20. I'll tell you that shit right now. That's one. It was already confirmed.
He was actually able to inflict damage to Jiren during that time as well.
I mean, he
unlike how he did before in Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20.
Right, he kicked him in the stomach and that was it. But like I'm saying, Ultra Instinct literally is your body moving without it actually thinking. Like the signal that your brain sends, that the signal that the brain sends to the muscle that's telling it to actually throw a punch at somebody, it's pretty fast, okay? That in and of itself is pretty damn fast. That signal happens instantaneously. And Jiren, the minute Goku went into that state, and they showed his point of view where all you saw was the blue aura, and then he just charged that Jiren with that kick.
Jiren ducked, he dodged.
And it wasn't even like he barely dodged it. He
and mind you,
dodged that shit.
Topo and Dispo weren't even able to register as if even what happened, because they just noticed Goku when he was floating right above Jiren. But I mean, to be fair, I also agree that in a situation to where, let's say for example, we do have a full-powered Super Saiyan Blue Vegito with the 1 hour restriction. Now, considering if you want to go based off of the anime and he burns out after 5 or 6 minutes, regardless if that's the case, then for that short amount of time, being 5 to 6 minutes, Vegito would have to go all in, unleashing everything he possibly can as an entity before the timer burns out. But of course, if he does have the hour factor, that kind of gives him the advantage in trying to figure out how to outmaneuver Jiren. But even during that case, it's safe to assume right now that Vegito as an entity at full power would be stronger than any of the contestants at the Tournament of Power, including Goku, Vegeta, Frieza, Hit. But in a situation to where, let's say, we are combining Goku and Vegeta's powers during the time of the Tournament of Power and including them as one entity going up against Jiren, do you see Vegito having any advantage or any sort of impact in damaging Jiren, unlike how Goku and Hit were able to do, to the point where it forces Jiren to try a bit harder against them, knowing the fact that yes, he is unlike Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20, he's unlike Hit, to a degree where he's stronger, he's faster, his abilities are a bit more unique in its own right. Do you see Vegito having any sort of advantage when it comes to speed, tenacity, durability, strength, or intelligence when going up against Jiren? Or do you think that Jiren definitively stomps on every given category when it comes down to facing against a full-powered Vegito?
Well, see, the thing is, it's like, we're talking like Goku and Vegeta Tournament of Power versus Jiren, when that's like a big what if. Now we're really trying to force the scenario to give Vegito a chance.
Right, but because because we're making the assumption that during the Black story, you're saying that essentially he would not have a good chance at all.
No, because I mean,
during that time.
Listen, okay, let's just theoretically say you think Vegito is Beerus level.
Right.
And Jiren surpassed this a long time ago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This has been established. Like going into before the tournament started, we already established that there is a being who supersedes the Hakaishin. Like that in and of itself is a statement that you can't. That's just broken.
Yes,
and like I said, it all comes down to whether or not you guys think Vegito can go up against someone who has Ultra Instinct, which I personally don't think that to be the case at all either. Remember, listen, Jiren made. This is a casual Jiren going up against Ultra Instinct Goku. I don't think people understand. Like, if you honestly believe Vegito wins, that's fine. I respect your opinion. But Jiren was designed in a way to be unbeatable for a reason. Like, they're literally portraying him to be unbeatable.
Yeah.
He is literally the be-all, end-all of this series in terms of like a molded character. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jiren is so broken that they took it a step further, and I'm gonna repeat myself when I say it. They took it a step further by saying the Hakaishin cannot defeat him. They literally went as far to say that he transcends time. That is ridiculous. So, like, you literally have to understand what that means. They've created Jiren in such a way that no one can beat him. Not a single being, whether you're fused or singular, can beat him. And that's how broken they've designed him.
And also,
imagine him. And by the way, hold on. Oh, right. 1 second. This is a suppressed Jiren. That's what people are
definitely
not
full power. Actually, the Kai pointed that out. Kai pointed out when he was pushing back the spirit bomb with just his eyes, which is scary in his own right. Yeah. Kai said that there's something more. He feels a deeper power within Jiren, and actually even Shin, Supreme Kai, even said it himself. We've never battled or faced anyone like Jiren before, and mind you, Shin was there with Merge Zamasu, and We can only make the assumption. I mean, because to be fair to Vegito, because I don't think that Vegito would get fully obliterated completely. I think that maybe there is a slight chance that he could do something to kind of push Jiren back just a little bit, but ultimately, I think the end result would be Jiren. But here's the thing, with Vegito, we've never seen any fusion, Gogeta, Vegito, we've never seen any of these characters, number one, go at full power, because with the retcon, it's safe to assume now that they can't, because if they really decide to go full power, or even implementing Kaioken, it's safe to assume that their fusion would just get burned out quickly and they would defuse, which is kind of unfair because let's say, hypothetically speaking, if we do retain Goku's Kaioken times 20 with Vegito, and let's say as an example, if Vegito Blue did go Kaioken times 20, his fusion time would burn out very, very quickly. I mean, before the fight would even start, I think it'd be over. But considering Jiren having to take his first step when he first saw Goku, and he shook the entire world of Void simply by walking towards Goku's direction, is something that people need to take note of. When Vegito was introduced, of course there was a level of intimidation, and we saw how he pretty much shook the entire city when he transformed into Super Saiyan Blue, but that's not on a comparative level to someone who shook the entire world of emptiness, the world of Void, something that is just infinite in its own right, and when it comes down to, you know, the setting that they're in. So by the end of it, do you see Vegito having any sort of significant impact on Jiren's body to the point where Jiren doesn't completely demolish him, but I mean to a degree where he does have a significant enough impact to force Jiren to try a bit harder, which ultimately puts him down? Or do you think that Vegito would have no chance in this fight, considering full power, Kaioken, whatever the case may be?
Like I said, look at it this way. Jiren bodied Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20
with his eyes,
in both melee combat, and the Team Universe 7 Spirit Bomb, on top of the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 pressure being applied to that in that one episode, which is equivalent to 1 or 2 minutes. Think about that.
Right.
As to where, and Vegito's time at least lasted for 5 minutes of, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, even if you want to say Vegito has an Jiren did all of this in 2 episodes, and then he fought UI Goku in the second episode, and that was a span of like what, 5 minutes tops, maybe 4 or 5 minutes of tournament of power time.
Right.
Just think about that for a second. Let it settle in. Let it settle in, and that's Jiren not at full power, and then really think about whether or not Vegito has a chance.
So let me ask you, so how long, in your opinion, would you think a fight like this would last? To be fair, let's use the Vegito that we saw during the Goku Black story. He was legitimately trying towards the very end, right before he defused, which is kind of his fault, because in the beginning he's known for just goofing off and calling out his opponent. And you know, to be fair to that battle, he did go toe-to-toe with Zamasu, even though he had the advantage. He was still, you know, the power gap. Vegito was obviously stronger, but to that degree, it wasn't like Vegito was completely destroying him as he did with Buhan. But looking at this, right? Let's say we bring that Vegito in the picture. How long would you think this would last? Since you're going with Jiren, and I believe that Jiren would also take the victory here, considering, as you said, he was able to read Goku's movements. He was able to tank Goku's movements as an Ultra Instinct being, and seeing how quick Goku was and Jiren adapting to that. Let's say Vegito entered the mix, full powered, right from the get-go. How long do you think a fight like this would last in its entirety, to where when you look at the way he fought Hit and you look at the way he fought Goku, would you say that Vegito would last longer in either A, burning right through his fusion because of the immense power that he's producing, or similar to the other two, would Jiren just beat this man down completely early on to where he just doesn't stand the chance at all, in your opinion?
Okay, like when Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 10 or times 20, there's a dramatic increase in both power, especially speed,
everything,
perception. Okay, when Goku fuses with Vegeta and becomes Vegito, obviously there's an increase in power, there's an increase in speed, there's an increase in perception, but it's not on that much of an equivalent tier in terms of the speed concept. You see what I'm saying? Like, yes, he becomes a lot faster, he becomes a lot, and clearly a lot stronger. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Obviously, I'm acknowledging that the power of Vegito is a force to be reckoned with. I'm not shitting on him. It's just realistically, like, there's just nothing that he has that would make Jiren, you know, think twice about what he's doing based on what we saw. Like, listen, it all comes down to that. Obviously, the final Kamehameha wave against Zamasu got out of it like it was nothing.
Yeah.
You can argue, well, just because he's immortal or half of him was immortal, whatever you wanna say, that's fine. But this dude tanked Universe 7 Spirit Bomb with his eyes. Like, I'm sorry.
With his eyeballs. And not only that, he condensed it in a singular mass in a black hole.
And by the way, he actually caused it to implode. That's broken.
Yeah, and it blew right in Goku's face to the point where everyone else thought that Goku was vaporized.
Right, and here's the thing. I know someone's gonna mention, well, you know, Vegeta didn't add power to the bomb. He would have added power. Well, obviously, then I'm gonna use the same argument that people used against me when I was bashing Vegeta for not helping Goku, is that it wouldn't have made a difference against Jiren. You see what I'm saying? And that same difference would not really help in this battle either. You see what I'm saying? So what it comes down to is that Jiren is on a whole nother level. And it's not just like figuratively speaking. He's literally on a whole nother level.
Right.
So much so that they're literally forcing this concept of Goku also reaching this tier of power. And let's just theoretically say Jiren does not possess Ultra Instinct. Imagine if he did. You see what I'm saying? So like, if we want to really force Vegito and put Vegito in a scenario where he would have a shot, then the fact that we don't have to do that for Jiren says enough. The fact that we have to actually talk about, I'll even give you he lasts the whole hour. Fine, no problem. He can power up max without burning through it, whatever. Fine, no problem. Jiren as a suppressed being is on a level that has just made the entire fan base really wonder what the fuck is going on with the series going forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a problem. Like I said, Suppressed Jiren did all of this in a span of 5 minutes. All of that in a span of 5 minutes, Alex. I'm sorry, Vegito. And then if you want to say Jiren decides to take Vegito a little bit seriously, no. This dude he's on a whole nother level. It's so much so that they can't even animate his speed properly. The first time they clashed, the first time Ultra Instinct Goku clashed against Jiren, okay? Goku was seen moving. He was punching and kicking as an Ultra Instinct being. Jiren was deadass standing still. He was standing still,
he was
looking at the floor, and it wasn't animated. Goku was animated in that clash.
Right.
And then they eventually show Jiren's hands, like he uses his eye thing, and then I actually have the screenshot. I'll send it to you, actually. You see 15 fists on the screen.
When Goku rushed towards his direction, we saw like Vegito, a barrage of fists. I saw that.
Vegito is not doing that. I'm sorry. Jiren is on a whole nother level for a reason. I think we should acknowledge that. We can do whatever verse battle in the Dragon Ball franchise we want. It just comes down to the capabilities of both Goku and Vegeta at that point in time mixing into one being would not make a difference.
Now,
wouldn't make a difference.
I want to bring this up because I know fans are going to ask a couple of questions. One being the entirety of what Shin said in the manga for Vegito. Now, to clear that up, Toriotaro himself had stated that, you know, you can't really rely on Shin for answers because Shin pretty much suggested that perhaps maybe Vegito has surpassed even the powers of Beerus, which there is no confirmation that he ever did, unless of course we do see the fusion reemerge once again for us to get full confirmation that it is. But in the manga and in the anime, there was no concrete evidence to support the idea that Vegito has surpassed Beerus. Is it possible? Sure, it is. But taking into consideration,
even with that, I don't think so, even because I could prove that wrong anyway. But yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, taking that into consideration, we can all agree that perhaps maybe base form Vegito could lose. Now, a lot of people are gonna ask, what about this and what about that? We're not going to include an Ultra Instinct Vegito just because, number one, it doesn't exist. Number two, if it did exist, I think, in my opinion,
it's completely broken. Then
it's completely broken. The odds are going to be completely in Vegito's favor. I mean, would you disagree with that? Ultra Instinct Vegito versus Jiren?
Yeah, because it would be a mix of Ultra Instinct Goku and Vegeta, which is
that right there would be on an entirely different level. So we're going to disregard that. The only thing I do want to include here are the two factors of Kaioken times 10 and 20. Those are the only things that we've seen in the show that's logical and that implies because of what Goku possesses in terms of if we're using Vegito from the Goku Black story. Now, just to sum it all up, you know, do you also believe that Kaioken times 10 and Kaioken times 20 isn't going to get applied to Vegito? Do you think Kaioken times 10 and 20 would have any sort of a significant impact to help him? Because people are going to ask, well, what about this? What about that? And disregarding anyone else talking about Kaioken times 50 or 100, those don't exist. We're only going to use 10 and 20. So let's say, as a hypothetical, full-powered Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 10 or Kaioken times 20 Vegito against Jiren. Would it give him that much more of a significant, advantage, or same outcome, do you think, in your opinion?
Well, see, then we have to consider this. During that time, Goku, we've seen him go, obviously, times 10 the Universe 67 tournament, which was way before the Zamasu arc, right?
Yeah, way before, yeah.
But at that point in time when he used it, that was the very first time we actually saw Goku casually use the Kaioken. And then from then forward, he started using it more and more. So we don't know as to when eventually he mastered the concept of when he made it feel so comfortable going into Kaioken. With that out of the way, to say Vegeta will comfortably go into Kaioken times 10 is questionable, and then to imply that he will comfortably go into Kaioken times 20 is also very questionable, because the fact that, well, Goku literally just started using Kaioken in the Zamasu arc, like officially, like he started using it frequently from that point going forward, right? There's no other depiction prior to that time other than the Universe 67 tournament, which then was difficult for him to do. After that, the very first time we saw him do it casually was in that Zamasu fight, and he only did it for that split second because obviously he was tired, and he kicked Zamasu, and then that was that, and then the Ring of Light broke, and then that was it. After that, we saw Goku do it more and more and more. He did it against Gohan. He did it in the Zen Exhibition match against Bergamo. He did it, I think, once more he was going to do it against Topo, right? So with that, I would say I don't think Vegeta would be capable of going times 10 nor times 20. But if you want to say that he would be able to, then I would say it would give him a better, I guess it would give him more progress, to fighting Jiren. But then it's like, well, remember, Jiren is still suppressed, so then you have to assume he would power up to some degree. Whatever degree Jiren powers up to, just nobody in the franchise yet. There's nobody that can actually rival him right now. There's nobody. And the whole thing with Vegito surpassing Beerus, once again, we even spoke about that. Shin is not a reliable source, that's one.
Right.
And two, to say that he literally said perhaps he has surpassed Beerus. Well, then you have to consider this. To say Vegito surpassed Beerus in the manga, and then to imply to some people that based on the Hit and Goku fight in the manga, Hit was actually not even Super Saiyan Blue level. He was only Super Saiyan God level at best, right? Because of that, people imply that the manga is significantly weaker than the anime iteration of the series, and because of that, by default, makes the anime stronger, and makes the manga considerably weaker. So now, by default, that should theoretically make manga Vegito weaker than anime Vegito, which would really hurt, which would then by default hurt Vegeta going forward into a matchup with Jiren, especially in the manga. So, and on top of that, we're about to see, hopefully, down the line, how they depict Jiren, if they even introduce Jiren in the manga, and how strong he's going to be. Obviously, the manga does a better job at depicting and portraying how strong a character is, right? Versus the anime in terms of animation, because the manga spends more panels and more pages to tell you what's what, how strong, how fast someone is, yada yada yada. Okay?
Right.
I remember when you did your manga about Zamasu, right? Zamasu was apparently so fast that nobody even saw him get by Goku and Vegeta.
Yep.
And next thing you know, they just dropped to the floor. But Jiren is on a level that supersedes that to no degree.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And now we have Vegito, who quote unquote perhaps surpassed Beerus, and he's ping-ponging Zamasu around, right? Couldn't finish the job because obviously the time ran out, or they defused, whatever. Yeah. But even so, with that, it still wouldn't have worked because Zamasu was immortal. That's one. And two, to say that it wasn't really depicted as to by what margin he surpassed Beerus. Let's say he marginally surpassed Beerus, right? But then you look at Goku as a Master Super Saiyan Blue going toe-to-toe with Zamasu, and then you see that same Master Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, who was confirmed to be equivalent to Master Super Saiyan Blue Goku, get one-shotted by Beerus, get literally planted into the earth like a tree, right? And then that's how you scale where Vegito stands. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then Beerus says it will take you 100 million years or something like that to reach my level. Not even surpass me, to reach my level.
Yeah.
And then the Oracle Fist goes on. Yeah. And then the Oracle Fist goes on to say that these two will rival you someday. Not even be equivalent to, but they will rival you.
Yep. So
then it gives you a better depiction as to what Shin was trying to say. That he was clearly just flabbergasted by the sheer thought of Goku, and by a fusion of which he's seen before, by the way, in Dragon Ball Z against Gohan. So the fact that they've become this powerful, let's just assume perhaps he's surpassed Beerus, when Shin in general has no idea as to what most of these characters are capable of.
Right.
So with all that stuff out the way, we can assume that, okay, even if Vegito theoretically marginally surpassed Beerus, Jiren is still on a whole nother level by default. Jiren is still on a whole nother level by default. And with that, even the manga Vegito loses. So it really comes down to really how hard you want to defend Vegito, because he's a mix of your two favorite characters, Vegeta or Goku, yada yada. And I understand what the fan base feels. They still feel like, the fan base still feels hits in the tournament. No offense to them. I understand why they would feel that way. But it really comes down to factual information. Stop, there's really no way you can actually stand by anybody else who isn't Jiren right now. There's no way.
And there's so much for us to learn about him, because we don't know. We don't know how he got this training. We don't know essentially his powers, what he could do at full power. But I do want to give Vegito some credit in saying that he would do better than Hit, do better than Goku. I think that ultimately enough, maybe even at a percentage, it would cause Jiren just to acknowledge him as being formidable, ultimately taking him down. I think that if we imply different variations of Vegito, for example, Ultra Instinct, etc., that would be a bit too broken. But we're only going to go based off of what we saw in the anime and the manga, considering Vegito being at full power. Post your comments down below, guys, if you guys agree or disagree, if you guys believe Vegito does possess the necessary qualities to defeat Jiren, or if you guys stand by myself and Emish and believe that Jiren is simply too broken for Vegito. Post your comments down below, guys, as to who you guys believe would win this battle. Thank you all so much for watching, and Emish, thank you so much for joining me. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to go on ahead and slap a like down below. If you guys are new to this channel, punch that subscribe button, guys, and enable all notifications to be notified whenever a video is posted onto this channel, alongside punching that subscribe button for Emish's live as well. He also does tons of awesome Dragon Ball videos on his channel as well. So thank you all so much for watching, guys. We may actually go back and touch up on this as a community response just to see what you guys had to say. So we hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll be seeing you all in the next video, guys. Take it easy. Peace.